Hello, good morning, happy Tuesday. I'm so excited you're here. I'm so excited for this conversation. Um, I know it sounds almost a little, I got a little nervous promoting this because how to land the woman of your dreams and I don't want to say oh, I'm the one of your dreams. It could come across cocky, but I actually get a lot of questions from men asking that very question. How do I get the courage to ask this woman out? And how do I get her attention? And what if I feel like I'm too late or I'm too old or I'm not enough? I get questions like this all the time. So I wanted to have a sex ed live stream dedicated to this so that this is something, whether you're currently a subscriber or you've joined my page later and you're watching this, that because I actually want you to go out in the world and land the woman of your dreams. Literally, I want you to go out and land the person of your dreams. And I tell my clients, who you pick for your partner is literally the most important decision of your life because that decision affects every other area of your life. If you feel amazing with your partner, you're going to feel more amazing at your work. You're going to feel more amazing at home. You're going to feel more amazing about yourself. If you have a partner that you're about, or you're not a good fit for, you're going to feel gross at work. You're going to feel gross coming home. You're going to feel gross in the relationship. This makes such a difference. And I can even attest to this in my own experience. When I was married to my husband, a few months after we got divorced, my entire life blew up for the better. Media, business, money, everything blew up for the better. And I didn't realize how much I was holding myself back, or I felt held back in my relationship. And it wasn't until I got out of that relationship that I began to flourish. So really, our primary relationship with our partner immediately, drastically affects your day-to-day life, and it affects the results you get in your life. So if you can land the woman of your dreams, this is going to benefit you in every way. And so something I hold in my body, and I teach my clients this, and I'm teaching this in my upcoming program, Get Paid to Go on Dates, is I hold this belief that when you're in my world, or when I'm in your world, I'm in your life, I make your world better. I really feel this. I feel when people enter my life, they make more money, they feel more confident. I hold this belief in my body that I improve your world. And so I really feel not only do I believe that, but then because it's a core belief of mine, I feel that energy transfers to people in my world. And so this is something I want you to have when you meet a woman that catches your attention, or she's caught your attention for a while. It's do you believe that you would actually make her life better? By her spending time with you, by her getting to know you, would her life benefit by your existence in it? And of course, my hope is you say, fuck yes. If you're not able to say fuck yes yet, we want to work on that. But I really believe that. And I've had men, and not even just men, I've dated photographers I've worked with. They were holy shit, I feel my photography leveled up by working with you. I've literally been told that. And it's because I bring this energy and this belief everywhere I go. I benefit your life. I make your world better. I make your world more magical, especially when it comes to my primary dating life. Of course, that's something I want. I want to bring value to you. I want you to feel so lucky. And I want everyone to feel that in a relationship. I want you to feel that way with the person of your dreams. And I want the person of your dreams to feel that way about you. So on my social media, when I posted that, I proposed to my partner and he said yes, I had people comment he's so lucky. And I feel that way. I feel he is. But I wrote also, I'm the lucky one. I think we're both lucky. Right? It's not one way. So I wanted to share with you some of my tips that I would give if you are wanting to land the woman of your dreams. So the first question is, which is what I talked about in my Instagram stories yesterday, is if your woman of your dreams saw you, would she know that you're the one? And I'm not saying love at first sight. I'm not saying people instantly know, but my question is what do you bring to the table? Because what often happens is when we put a woman on a pedestal that she's the one, oh my God, my dream woman, we automatically assume she's better than us. I'm not good enough for her. She's superior. I'm inferior. And it's a dynamic that honestly isn't attractive to a powerful, sexy, successful woman. A sexy woman, the woman of your dreams, values power to power dynamics. That you know your value and your worth. She knows her value and your worth, and you're able to meet at that level. But if you put her on a pedestal and you think you're less than that, that's an awkward dynamic. That's hi, and you're hi, almost fangirling, and which is fine. I think fangirling is really sweet. I fangirl over certain crushes of mine, but I know if I actually want to get to know them, it's a little bit awkward to get to know someone who's so busy fangirling, they're not able to hear you, and they're not able to value the fullness of your humanity. So you have to work on knowing your value, knowing your worth, and that you are able to attract the woman of your dreams. That is like the biggest thing. It's like an inside job. Then when we're working on the inside job, then there's a practical level. Like if she's going to look at you, will she know you that you're a potential one for her? Like, will she know by the way you dress? Will she know by the way you carry yourself? Will she know by the way you communicate and engage with her? If you're dressing frumpy or blah, and there's this like gorgeous woman that you want to catch your eye, is she going to notice you? Is she going to want to be proud to be part of that? And some people will. What's his name? Adam Sandler, I think, has the worst fashion, dresses like a terrible high schooler, and he has a wife and he has children. Like that can work. It would drive me crazy as a partner. I could personally not date someone who doesn't take care of themselves physically, like that don't care about their fashion, that don't care about their health or their body. So that's just for me. So there's always an exception here, but it's just a good question. Like, do you dress in a way where people can look, a woman could look at you and be like, oh, they take care of themselves. Like that matters to them. Or like, what is it about you that you could lean into? 1000% Steve. Steve wrote, if it's not an equal plus situation for each, then it will probably lead to problems taking and giving out of balance. 100%. So maybe for you, maybe fashion isn't your thing. That's okay. What is your thing? Is it humor? Like you've got a good sense of humor. You can keep people cracking up. Is it empathy? Like you're really good at tuning in and like feeling what the person's feeling. And it's so like, it feels good when someone gets how you're feeling, right? Is it a good listener? You're so good at listening. Or are you really good at asking insightful questions? Like, are you, like I'm not a very like tech person. So when someone can help me out tech wise, it's like such a turn on. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you can help me with this tech issue. Like, what is it that you're good at? And can you lean into that? Because it's not like if you're really good at humor, but you feel like, oh, I need to be fashionable, but you're naturally not really interested in fashion and you're trying to be fashionable, you're going to feel so awkward and not as confident in that moment that you can't even focus on your humor and the whole thing flops. So this is what I'm saying. Start where you're at and the thing you are into. Like lean into your humor, lean into your empathy, lean into your fashion, lean into your hygiene. Like whatever that thing is, it matters. And it's going to especially matter to the person of your dreams because there's an alignment there, right? So if you value fitness, you're probably going to attract someone who is. If you value fashion, you'll probably attract someone who also values that. Like we attract who we are. So lean into this thing that you are good at, the thing you naturally care about and passionate about, and trust that that is enough. The fastest way to sabotage yourself is to like have this thing you're really good at, think it's not enough, and then feel insecure everywhere else. It's really hard to attract someone when we're so busy internally focusing on how we are not enough, so busy feeling insecure because we're inside focused. We're not even looking out. We're not even able to pay attention to them because we are so obsessed with ourselves. So we want to land the woman of our dreams. It's like, can you just for a hot minute, because we all have insecurities. I'm not saying you're going to eliminate them, but for a hot minute, can you focus on her? Can you do your best to listen to her? Can you do your best to ask her questions? Can you do your best to make her feel amazing, even when you're feeling insecure, nervous, awkward? I want to give you an example. This happened like a week ago. Literally a week ago. It was like last Wednesday or Thursday. I went to the beach. I'm sitting on the bench. I'm all bundled up like in a jacket. I'm wearing flip-flops. Like I'm not dressed sexy in any way. I'm just like in my own little world. I'm like listening to music, looking at the ocean. And then sometimes I'm listening to music. Actually, Sam, I was listening to your playlist. I'm like listening to the playlist. And then sometimes I'd like a client would message me. So I'm like messaging a client. So I'm kind of in my own little world. I made food, but that's like a cheap tip for chefs and bakers. Yes, I just told this. So a gentleman that I went on a paid date with last week has a personal chef who cooked us a meal. And I was telling the chef, I'm like, dude, your partner now or in the future is so lucky. And he's like, I know. I'm like, if you can cook food, I'm the same way. If you can, because I stopped cooking years ago. If you can cook for me, that's a huge turn on. I'm in my own little world at the beach, and I've probably been there 30 minutes, just like listening to music, responding to clients, listening to clients. And then all of a sudden I feel this man at my side. And he's like, hey, you want to grab tacos? And I go, like it was so fast, and I could tell he was so nervous. And I realized he had been on the bench next to me. Like I had known someone was over there, but I wasn't paying attention. It was in my room. And you could tell for the entire 30, 45 minutes I'd been sitting there, he was trying to get the courage to ask me out. And by the time he did it, he had psyched himself so much that he kind of was overbearing and in my face and loud and fast. Like I didn't even know what he just said. And I said, excuse me. And then he's like, do you want to grab some tacos? And I was like, no, thanks. Thank you so much. So, and he's like, hi, I don't remember his name, Bob. I'm like, hi, Bob. I'm Nicole. And then he walked away. Right. And I felt so bad for him because I'm like, he could have had a chance because you know me, I'll go on a paid date, but he got so nervous, which is totally fair. And he was so abrupt and he was so direct that my immediate reaction was, I wanted to pull away. So what he could have done, and this is what I always recommend, if you see someone that you're like, ooh, that person's kind of cute, or ooh, check out that person, I kind of ask them out. I'm not the biggest fan of, do you want to go grab tacos? Do you want to go grab a drink? Do you want to, like, why would I say yes to you? I don't even know who you are, right? So what I think he could have done that would have worked way better is he was at the bench next to me, which I don't know, maybe 8 feet from me, and looked at me and be like, it's a gorgeous sunset, isn't it? Find something in common in that space that you're in with that person. So it's like, it's easy for that woman to talk and engage with you. If he had said, that's a gorgeous sunset, isn't it? I would be like, yeah, it's really beautiful. And then he could have just been like, what's your favorite thing about the beach? And I would have been like, I just love the size of the ocean. I love sunshine. I love sand. Like this is literally my happy place. And he'd be like, same. This is whenever I come here to ever, I don't know, I want to relax. I want to get grounded, take a break between work. I'm like, that's amazing. And then he could have been like, how long have you lived in California? Like have a conversation about something in common. And maybe by the end of that conversation, you'd be like, hey, I think I'm going to go grab some tacos. Would you want to come? And I'd be like, you know what? I think I'm okay right now, but thank you so much. Like, and then what he could have maybe done, because if I had felt safe with him and if it had been like a nice conversation, he could have been like, I don't also recommend asking for a woman's number. That is my personal opinion. I don't give my number out to people. I'm very protective of it. If he had been like, hey, is there a way I could stay in touch? Do you have Instagram or social media or something? I'd be like, yeah, totally. I would give him my Instagram handle. And then he'd be like, it was really nice to meet you. And maybe I'll see you around. I'm like, yeah, maybe. Because I go to that beach. That's like the main beach I go to, right? And then he could have found me on Instagram. And he could have shot me a DM. And just been like, hey, it was really nice to meet you. I hope you really enjoyed your time at the beach. And I've been like, nice to meet you. Thank you. Do you notice in this whole exchange, I'm not telling or saying, ask her out, ask her out, ask her out. Take your shot, take your shot, take your shot. He took one shot maybe after we had a conversation about the beach. And then, like, hey, I'm going to grab tacos. Would you want to come? If I said, no, I'm not really interested, but thank you so much. Cool. Then he got my Instagram. Then he DM'd me saying it was nice to meet you. And then what I would have recommended is he could have followed me on Instagram and starting like not stalking, not obsessively trying to get my attention because he knows his worth, right? We've talked about know your worth, know your value, know what you bring to the table. And this is a long game, right? He could have started engaging with my Instagram stories, like, because I was at the beach yesterday, or, you know, I whatever. He sees and he's like, oh my God, that looks amazing. Or my post, like, oh, I love what you wrote. That was really good. Or like, that program sounds amazing. Like genuine engagement. Don't do it just to get my attention. Do it because you're genuine. And I would be like, this guy's really nice. All of that would have increased his chance 100-fold to me saying yes on a date in the future. But he got so nervous and so in his head, and he treated me like he had a one-time shot. If you treat someone like this is your one shot, it probably will be your only shot. But when you treat someone like they're a person and like with a chance to maybe get to know down the road, you increase your chance of them getting to know them down the road. You know what I mean? But because he came like, hey, do you want to grab tacos? I'm like, what? With you? Why? What? You're super awkward. You know what I mean? But if he had treated me a little more like a person, pointed to something in common that we could have talked back and forth about for a little bit, felt the energy, right? Because if there had been no energy, if it was like an awkward conversation and you realize like, oh, talking to her, I'm not interested. Cool. You just saved yourself and asking out that you didn't even want to do in the end. Anyway, just some kind of rapport, some back and forth. And then you could shoot your shot, a shot, not the shot, a shot, like, hey, do you want to grab tacos? Would you want to go grab coffee? I'm going to go grab some. And another thing, here's my other tip. At this beach, just down the way, there's a little cafe. And I'm like, when he said tacos, I'm like, wait, does that mean I have to get my car and have to drive? I don't want to leave the beach. If he had been like, hey, I just about go getting like a little snack at the shack down here, would you want to, that also would have increased my chance. If I have to leave where I am to go meet, like, I don't even know you, why would I go out of my way? So it's like, but like, make it so easy for the person to say yes. Like, chat back and forth, have that rapport, and like, do you want to go like grab a snack at the shack down there? And if I was like, no, not really. Okay, cool. Really nice to chat with you. And you could leave, or you'd be like, would it be possible to stay in touch via social media? I would love to stay in touch if you're open to that. And I probably would have said yes. Right? So it was so jarring, Raya. It was so jarring. And I saw his good heart. I saw his intention. I was like, what a sweetheart. And I almost wanted to educate him. Like, I'd be like, hey, I'm not interested, but something I do is I do get paid to go on dates. If that's something you're ever interested in, like, let me know. And he would probably, it would have probably been too jarring for him to be like, wait, what, pay for it? But like, just letting him know, like, there's an option where like you can actually pay beautiful women or the woman of your type, because there's many women on these sites, to have a date. And like, that's, I think is a great way to actually practice taking women out, especially if you don't have a lot of practice. Is like, pay one. Like, we're professionals, right? We care, we love what we do. So yeah, it was just like, I was like, oh my God, I wish I could help him. Like, he was like this close. Like, he saw someone he was interested in. He shot his shot, but it was just too abrupt and too in my face that my immediate reaction was no. But it could have been a maybe later. Like, it makes me so sad. Hi, Caleb. Let's see. Knowing how and when to do all that for people who lack social skills, an impossible ask, sadly. And I don't think I don't think it's impossible. I think the more, anytime you practice something, you have the ability to get better at it. So he seemed younger. He's probably in his 20s maybe. So like, he's probably not had a ton of practice. And, you know, I'm really proud of him for asking. Like, I'm really, like, it's really scary to put yourself out there. But there's a softer way to go about it. And that's what I want men to know is like, especially this hyper alpha male culture where it's like, I will tell the woman what she wants. I know what a woman wants. And I've had so many men tell me that. And I'm just like, how would you know? You've never asked me a question. Like, and if you really got to know me, I'm not the biggest fan of Mexican food. So like, you know, so like, I'm not as interested in grabbing tacos. But it's like, you don't know what I want. So like, just have a conversation, right? And I think if this guy really felt like he was a catch, like, I think, cause even the way he dressed, cause I saw him quickly when he came to my face, I wasn't attracted. He was a little bit, I would say, sloppy, just totally fine. But I'm like, if you don't care about yourself, it's hard for me, like that's not a turn on for me, right? So like, if he knew he was a catch, it changes the energy, right? Because if you know you're a catch and you know you're amazing and you know your value, you know your worth, there's going to be a little bit more of a relaxed energy about you. Because if it doesn't work with this person, you're going to find your person. But if you put all the pressure that this is your shot and this is it, and I don't know, I always get rejected, but maybe she'll say, you get so in your head, you can feel the energy. So this is why it's so important you work on your sense of self-worth, you know, knowing your own value, knowing your ability to like what you have to contribute. Hi, T-Roller 1909. Like, because it's just going to relax you a little bit than if you're so in your head about your insecurities or about how you've been rejected so many times before. And if all you focus on is how many times you've been rejected before, you will create a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we have to really clean up our side of the street of like instead of counting or assuming I've been rejected this many times, it's like I would actually start accumulating evidence of when it's worked. And maybe not asking someone on a date like, hey, when I talk to this person, they engage with me. Or whenever I go over here and when I get together with family, we chat so easily. When we get together with friends, we chat so easily. When we do group hangouts, like there's so much evidence for like people listen to you, they like you, they value you. Like start accumulating evidence of what you want. Don't accumulate evidence of what you don't want because what you focus on grows. So I just felt this guy, the energy I got is he's probably asked out women before. He's probably gotten rejected and it made him super nervous on top of already feeling nervous. Hi, thank you. and it kind of all came out in that moment. Versus if he really knew he was a catch and he knew his sense of self-worth and that there is no ultimate loss, because if it's not me, there's me, another woman you can ask on the road, or if it's not this moment, we can stay in touch and maybe something would have happened down the road. And the cool thing is, if he had asked for my Instagram, he would see that right now I'm launching a program called Get Paid to Go on Dates. Light bulb. He's like, oh, now I see why she didn't say yes. She gets paid to go on dates. And he could have started paying attention and like been like, okay, if that's her terms and conditions, am I willing to meet her there? Does that feel good to me? And then he could have offered in the DMs, hey, I see you're teaching a program, Get Paid to Go on Dates. I've never done that before. So like, to be honest, which I love honesty, but I would love to pay you to go on a date. Like, how much? I don't know if you don't mind filling me in. It's okay to be awkward in that sense. Like, it's okay to admit, like, I don't know, I've never done this before. I'm happy to work with that. And be like, oh my God. Like, I would feel so seen and so respected. Like, you've learned more about me. You've paid attention. You're willing to meet me at my level or meet me according to my boundaries or my standards or my desires. And I would have been like, yeah, here's my rate. Like, there's so many chances he could have had with me, but because he put all this pressure that it has to be this one shot, he lost his only shot. You know what I mean? So it's just like, if we just slow down just enough, remember our sense of self-worth and value, point to something in common between the two of you. If you're at a bar and be like, I don't know, like maybe it's a dive bar. Like, don't you love dive bars? And start talking about the dive bar, right? Or if it's a high-end bar, like, aren't high-end bars like amazing? Like, find something common. Another example, I was at Great Wolf Lodge, like an amusement indoor water park for families, and there was a really attractive man in the pool. This was like 6 months ago, maybe 9 months ago. Really attractive man. And I was like, I got a little hot and bothered. And like, we noticed each other and you felt the little zing of energy. Like, he noticed me, I noticed him, and I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And then we ended up sitting by each other in the seats where you watch your children play in the water. I'm like, I was the awkward one, and I forgot all of the advice I told you right now. Or I'm like, I want to say something, but like, and I got so paralyzed, I didn't say anything. And it wasn't until after I left that I'm like, oh my God, the number one thing is to find something in common. That man was covered in tattoos. I could have been like, I love your tattoos. That would have opened an entire conversation. He'd be like, oh, thank you. And then I would have been like, what? Tell me about one of your favorite ones. But I got so in my head, my brain shut down and nothing happened, right? So again, just remembering to find something in common where it's easy to talk about the thing right there instead of just abruptly going into, you're hot, or let's go grab tacos, or do you want to go out? It's like, I don't know who you are. What do you even bring to the table? Like, or I'm at the club because I want to dance. I don't want to leave. Or I'm at the beach. I don't want to go anywhere. Like, I want to be here. So find something in common. Okay, let me see. As a girl who likes girls, I can easily talk to another girl as a friend. But as soon as I consider showing interest, my brain shuts down. I mean, we all get that. Just like my brain shut down with this dude. Like, it happens to all of us. And like, this is where we have to remember we have more than one shot. We have infinite number of chances. Like, I just really don't believe in like you only get one or two chances. Like, infinite number of possibilities. And we just try every time, however awkward, however imperfectly. And I would view it more as, instead of trying to nail this as the one, like nail this, it's like, am I willing to flex my muscle and practice a little bit? And like just practicing. And I'm always the person who will err on the side of vulnerability and honesty, which for some people is really hard. For me, it's almost a little bit easier. And I might be like, okay, may I compliment you? And they're like, sure. I'm like, I think you're really beautiful. And I'm really nervous I just said that, but I told myself I was going to practice flexing that muscle, being truthful. And I decided to tell you that you're beautiful. I would probably do something like that, honestly, to a woman, because I would be nervous and I'm trying to flex this muscle, and she'd probably find it very endearing. Like, thank you. That is really cute. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm done now. That's it. That to me would be enough of just flexing. I'm not trying to like ask her out. I'm not trying to make a move beyond that. It's like, am I courageous enough to just try one thing? Hey, you're really beautiful. And then I would let myself be super awkward after that. And like, I would try to make it kind of humorous and a little bit endearing. Like, but I think all of our brains shut down. There's someone we're drawn to. We go la 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 la, right? And we just have to like flex that muscle a little bit each time, and it gets easier and it gets better. I feel like that experience cannot be unique to me as a woman. Guys must have some of that too. Totally, 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 totally. I was like that. I had to seek rejection and make that my goal to grow, to get comfortable with it. H, I love this. I was thinking about this with my youngest. So he is like the students at their school is encouraged to raise money for the school. It's due tomorrow. Of course, we wait till the last minute. And my youngest is like, I want to go to our neighbors and ask for money. And it's when you're younger, it's easier. As you get older, it gets nervous. And what I was thinking about doing is I'm going to pay him $1 for every neighbor he asks, because I know as we do more and more, and if he gets no's, he might get nervous and want to stop. And I want to reward him for risking. I want to reward him for trying. And so if I can reward him with cash, which is motivating for him, like I'll give you $1 for every neighbor you ask, because I don't want him to get a few rejections and then he quits. I want him to get a few rejections and still be rewarded for it, because if you can grow with it, like you said, H, like you'll get better at it. And I always see my no's as like the more no's I get, the closer to my yes I am. Whether it's for media, whether it's practicing asking people out, whatever it is, my no's get me closer to my yes. But if I quit after a number of no's, I'll never get to my yes. So yeah, I love that you leaned into it, H, to like let it grow you rather than stunt you. There was a TED Talk from Jia Jiang about seeking rejection to rewire the brain, because the brain learns from behavior, not words. Yeah, it's one thing like, I'm going to be brave, I'm going to be brave. But if we don't actually flex that muscle, hi Mount NR, hi Never Be Known. If you don't flex that muscle, like talk is just talk. At the end of the day, you have to take action, right? And so I love that you did that, H. And I'm hoping with my youngest, I can like help him with that brain by like, I will give you cash for every person you ask for money, because I want you to be brave and I want you to see the value and risk. And because if you're willing a risk of saying no, you're willing to have the risk of someone saying yes. And that is worth it. Let me see. This is so good. I'm so glad, Sam. I love that. Talking something similar can be nice. It helped me with other females in the same industry. I have culinary and bakery. Totally. Like find what's in common, or like, or if you can't find what's in common, it's like, I just got this necklace from a girlfriend this weekend for my birthday and I'm like in love with it. But if you just like, you wouldn't know that. But if you saw me at a bar or whatever, or we're at a PTA meeting, I don't know, wherever the fuck you go, and you're not sure what to say, can you notice something on that person that's not sexual is my first recommendation, and compliment. Like, that's a really beautiful necklace. And I'd be like, thank you. I just got it. And like, oh, what would you get it for? From whom? Like, oh, my girlfriend gave it to me for my birthday. Doors open. And what I would notice as a woman is, oh, that person paid attention. This person paid attention to a detail, right? So yeah, find something tangible you can talk about, whether it's in the immediate vicinity, it's on that person. Fine. That's going to be your gateway to making this happen. In Vancouver Community College, as a culinary, I spoke to bakery and stand out for different uniforms. I love it. It's like, yeah, find out what you have in common. Would you be more awkward with a CEO, congressman or woman, or a movie star? Okay, I don't love discussing politics. So I'd feel the most nervous with a congressperson, except like I'd be like, oh my God, are they only gonna talk politics? And they're super smart, obviously, in that field. I am not the smartest in that field. Ugh. CEO, I would love. Movie star, I would love. I can actually relate to those because I have my own business. Even the gentleman I went on a couple dates with last week, he's like 100 millionaire and he has a massive company and business. And I learned so much from him as a CEO. I was like, and I came home and I told my partner, I'm like, I should be paying him. Don't tell you when I said that. I was like, I should be paying him because, oh my God, the knowledge and the experience and the wealth this man has created. Holy shit. Like, but I never acted like he was superior. I like stayed in my power and it was amazing. Same with the movie star. I love acting. I love movies. Like, that would be easy. Okay, let me get to my notes. Make sure I cover everything. Okay, I also tell men, so this is different. This does not apply to women. I always tell men, your number one job is to make a woman feel safe. So you abruptly coming into my space and asking me out, doesn't make me feel the most safe. I don't know who you are. Like, where are we going? Why would I go with a stranger? Right? So that's why it's like, hey, what a beautiful sunset tonight. I'm like, right? I already feel safer because you're not making it about me. You're making it about something we're both enjoying, something we have in common, right? Or yeah, like, I don't like when people ask for my phone number. My own personal opinion. Other girls might be different. For me, do not ask for my number versus like chat with me for a little bit and be like, hey, what's the best way to get in touch? Is it social media? I just like social media is the new way for people to stay in touch. It allows us to kind of weed out who we want to stay in touch with, right? Or not stay in touch with. And so like your job is to make us feel safe. And making us feel safe doesn't mean stay away from us, right? We don't want to go that extreme, but it's just a little bit more thoughtfulness in the way you approach a woman, right? I think if I was at a bar, for example, or if I go to a club, I wouldn't necessarily want a man to saddle up next to me and be like, hey. I think what maybe would catch my attention, make me feel a little bit safer, is if the bartender's like, hey, that gentleman over there wants to buy you a drink. What's your drink of choice? I'm like, oh, like he didn't approach me physically. He's putting a gesture out there. I'm like, oh, that would catch my attention. And then I'm like, and then if I receive the drink, then maybe he could walk over. Like little things like that. It's just like a little bit of thoughtfulness of like, how can I make her feel safe, make her feel seen without putting this pressure that I have to ask her out right now. If I don't ask her out right now, I'm going to lose my chance and then I'll never. Whoa. Let's back that train of thought up, right? Yeah. Hi, Gino. How are you? I'm so good. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, it's like make her feel safe in the best way you know how, right? And it's not, there is no perfect way to do this. So again, we got to take the pressure off perfection. You will not be perfect. No one is perfect. I actually find awkwardness endearing, right? It's good to see you, Gino. I think awkwardness is endearing. I find overly cocky, overly confident, personally, a turnoff. Because I'm like, what are you overcompensating for? Like, to me, it seems like an act. When you're vulnerable or when you're awkward, I'm like, oh, they're trying, right? And of course, like, I prefer someone who's like confident and not cocky. But if I had to choose between cocky and awkward, I would choose awkward. That makes me feel safer because if you're overly cocky, I'm like, I feel like you don't value me as a person. You just think you can dominate. It's weird energy for me. But if you're like, hey, like your necklace, I'm like, thank you so much. Like I'm willing to engage there, even if it's a little bit, even if it's not quite power to power dynamics that I personally recommend and love, then someone is like, hey, like a necklace. Like, thank you. You can feel me like, thank you. So what brings you here tonight? It's like, I'm going to find ways to pull out of that conversation. But if there's like this gentleness to your approach, like, hey, I like your necklace. Are you having a good time tonight? I'm like, yeah, I'm actually really enjoying myself. Like when there's a softness there, I lean in. When there's a bit of a roughness, I pull back. Right? When I feel like there's something we have in common, I lean in. When I feel like you just have an agenda, I pull out. So this is why it's so nuanced. To me, it's so much about the energy than it is about like, am I wearing a fancy watch? Do I have a suit on? That's all great. I love a dressed up man. I love a dressed up woman. I love a casual man. I love a casual woman. It is much more about the energy that you bring to that moment. And so if you can work on your energy of like, okay, I'm nervous, but Nicole said, it's not about me. It's about making her feel safe. And what can I find that we have in common? What's an opener for me? It's like, okay, I see her necklace, or, oh, we're at the beach. Okay. Or we're at a water park. And I could be like, you know, that guy with the tattoos. I was like, like my brain shut down. I could have asked about his tattoos. Or I could have been like, do you have kids here? Or like, what kids did you, like, cause we have a million kids here. So it's like, what kids did you bring? Like, there's so many ways to just softly approach that makes people relax and open up. But if we feel unsafe, we shut down and we will we will find a way to back out because like this is not feeling good to my body. Would you acknowledge the drink from across the room? I would, because if they're like, that gentleman back there bought you a drink, I would look and be like thank you. And then I start probably panicking as he's coming over because I don't know if he's going to make me feel safe. Or I don't know if he's aggressive. Or I don't know if he's like, hey, like I will still feel nervous. So even though I acknowledge, your job is still to make me feel as safe as possible. And so maybe you give me a few moments. You don't have to make a beeline for me the second I wave. It's like, read the energy as the best you can. Read the room. Maybe let me have a few sips. And then you can come over and still give a little space. Just because you bought me a drink, you are not entitled to me. And I think this is where some men fuck it up. They're like, well, if I do something for her, she owes me a conversation. She owes me to be nice. I don't owe you anything. So if you come up and don't come like right in my space, like, hey, I just saw you and I wanted to treat you. Like, that was really nice. Thank you. Then find something in common. Like, I love this bar. I've been coming here for 10 years. I'm like, what? 10 years? And then he could be like, how long have you been coming? I'm like, I've been coming for 2 years. Oh, he could be like, oh, are you newer to California? Yeah, I've actually only been here for a little over 4 years. Oh, where were you? Now we have a whole conversation, right? But it wasn't like, oh, I bought you a drink. Hey, how you doing, sexy? It's like, ooh, I'm good. Now I feel awkward because now I don't know what your agenda is, right? So if you have something specific, it makes it much clearer. Like, oh, let's talk about the bar. Let's talk about the restaurant. Let's talk about the beach. Let's talk about the jewelry. Like, it can put our attention on something specific instead of just like, he just called me sexy, cool. Oh, look at that. Do you see fireworks in my background? I don't know how he just did that. Ah, I can't believe that happened. OnlyFans updated that? Thank you, Plane Cargo. Thank you. It's a party. How did I do that? Oh, fireworks. That was amazing. Ah, new feature. Ah, so good. Thank you, Plane Cargo. I do love my eyes. Yes, Sam. Making someone feel safe while seen. Ah, so good. So good, so good, so good, so good, so good. That's exactly it. Can make her feel safe. And how do I make her feel seen? Swoon. Safe, seen, swoon. At least for Nicole. That might be Nicole's formula. If I feel safe with you, if I feel seen by you, there's an openness to me that would otherwise not be there. And we are very good as women. We are typically approached all the time. Even if not asked out, we are approached all the time. And some of us are asked out more often than others, but we have enough experience to where we are very good at putting our walls up. We are very good at blocking out. And so if you can be someone who helps us bring our walls down, you will have an in that majority of men do not get, right? But you have to be a safe person. You can't use safety to manipulate. And this is what some men will do. Like, how can I make her feel safe? And then they attack, or then they have their way with her, or then they become like, then their true colors come out. If you're a good guy and you are a safe person, then you're going to utilize that, to make her feel comfortable instead of utilizing that to just have your way with her, right? My best friend seems to have that attitude and is fumbling a female he's into. I mean, I know we all, none of us are perfect. I'm not even perfect even with how much I interact with people and I had these conversations, and I'm still quite awkward. Just like that guy at that water park, I was like, I couldn't think of a single thing to say. I was so in my head. I still have moments like that. How do you transition from finding common ground to shoot your shot? So I think for you specifically, I would see if you could, okay, this is different for every person. I'm a little bit more into the softer approach. So if you find something in common and you're chatting back and forth, you're feeling the vibe, depend the vibe, you could say, hey, I really like your energy. I'd love to stay in touch. Are you on social media? Could I follow you somewhere? Again, that's making her feel safe. You're not saying, can I have your number? Or can I give you my number? Because sometimes when a guy will ask me for my number or they'll offer me their number, now I just say no. But before, when I was too scared to say no, I'd be like, sure. And they give me their number and I would never, ever text or call them. But you could just do a soft shot of, hey, I really enjoy your energy. I'd love to stay in touch with you. Is there a best way you like for me to stay in touch? Like, would that be social media? Like, I would just offer that first. So it's not a number. They might be like, oh my God, just here's my phone number. They might say that. Or they'd be like, yeah, follow me on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. And then if they're on a platform you're not on, now you have a decision to make. Are they worth getting on that platform to stay in touch with me? My opinion would be yes, but that's up to you. That's a soft shot. I would probably recommend for you, just because it's a chance for you to just flex a soft move, not like I'm going to go right for the ask. If, however, you feel extra courageous and you feel a vibe and there's been a good conversation, you could make your shot. Like, hey, would you like to go out for coffee sometime? Would I be able to buy you a drink another time? And if she says no, it doesn't mean never. It just means no right now. Just like that guy who asked me to tacos, I said no. It doesn't mean never. But he treated it as a one and only time. So it became a never for him. But that wasn't a never for me. That was in this moment, I do not want to go get tacos with you. But if you warmed me up a little bit, it's called foreplay, you actually have a shot with me. So then if she says no, they're like, okay, no problem. I'd love to stay connected. I said that I'd love to stay connected with you. Maybe not even stay in touch because maybe she's not yet ready to stay in touch with you. Like, I'd love to stay connected with you. I really like your energy. Could I follow you on social media? Would that feel comfortable for you? And she'd be like, yeah, you can follow me on Instagram or you can follow me on Twitter. That's cool. And now you have a way to stay in touch. And that's when you do all the stuff of like her stories, engage in posts authentically. If a post resonates with you, I'd engage with it. Like, that's going to catch her attention. Like, you're a genuine friend, but you're being a little bit more intentional. You're putting a little bit more effort. And that's going to help foster an openness that would have otherwise not been there if she said no and you shut down. It's all the genius you are spreading right now. I love it, Tino. Does that comment make you feel safe? You have the most beautiful eyes. Because we have history, I love that. But if a man just came up to me and said that, I mean, I love that. I love being complimented. But because it's something about me physically, I feel like now, like, I feel not as safe, or I'm like, oh, he just wants my body, which is why I recommend finding something in common, like either a piece of jewelry or my nails or the ocean. Like, what is something that is not just about my physical body? But I will tell you this, once we start dating, it actually really matters to me that you compliment my body, because I want to know that you still desire me. But in the beginning, it's the opposite. It's like, can you focus on something that's not necessarily about my physical body so that we can go deeper on something else? That makes me feel safer. And I think that actually makes a lot of women feel safer. That would be my recommendation. However, one time I was at a coffee shop with my young ones, and there was an older gentleman, maybe in his 60s or 70s. And he came up to me and goes, may I pay you a compliment? And I was like, I really liked how he said that. And I said, yes, of course. And he's like, you are the most beautiful woman I have ever seen. And I was like, oh, like my heart soared. But the way he asked for my consent, I felt safe. He didn't just come up and say, you are the most beautiful. I'd be like, oh, I would feel amazing. But I'd also be like, what's his agenda? But when he just said, may I pay you a compliment? He made his agenda clear. I just want to compliment you. And I was like, oh my God. I said, thank you so much. He's like, that's it. Have a wonderful day. And I have never forgotten that moment. Like, that was amazing. I felt safe and I felt seen. And he probably could have paid me to go on a date after that. Let's see. I can totally relate to that. I felt the reverse of that. And you are someone who has made me feel safe to tell you things, right? It's like, the way we make someone feel really determines how we open up or if we don't open up. And so I love that about myself, Sam. I love making people feel safe. And I'm told that all the time. I'm told by people, both girlfriends, guy friends, online, in person, like, I've never told anyone this, but I don't know why. I'm telling you, though. And I know why. I make people feel safe. And it's also one of my passions, because I feel like I had to keep so much of my life a secret. I didn't have safe people to turn to. And so I'm determined to be a safe person for people. Especially, it's typically with people's biggest secrets, biggest desires, biggest dream. Like, it's like these core parts of themselves that they typically don't tell anyone else, but they'll tell me. And I love that. But that's something I've intentionally cultivated, is making people feel safe with me. People I've known for years don't even know. Exactly. It doesn't help. My best friend is following advice from the guy friend who has gotten a reputation for cheating and drinking too much. Yeah, let's not take advice from people whose lives we don't want to emulate. This is for anything. It's like, my family has always struggled financially, and they're trying to give me financial advice. And I'm like, why would I take your advice when I don't want your results? Like, take your advice from people who get the results that you want, always. When I was younger, precocious media and cell phone, the brush off was to seem, what was that, Pilot? When I was younger, I'm not sure what that one means. I didn't catch that. Consent is so hot. It's so hot. Okay, I see that. May I? Yes, right? It's like the tiniest things, like, or even that guy at the beach, he'd be like, may I ask you a question? And that still makes me a little nervous because I'm like, I don't know what question he's going to ask again, which is why my number one preference and recommendation is find something in common you can talk about first. But if you are in a dire situation, you can't think of something common, at least ask for consent. May I ask you a question? I'm like, sure. I would still be nervous. So like my walls are still up. It's probably still going to be a no, whatever you say, because we don't have anything in common that I know of. And he might think it's obvious. Well, we're both at the beach. Yeah, but you didn't acknowledge that. Right? This is why it's so easy. Like what I'm saying is so easy. We just have to do it. So he might think it's obvious. Well, we're both at the beach. Obviously, we both love the beach. Yeah, but you didn't say that to me. And so that's where you say, hey, gorgeous day at the beach, huh? Or like, hey, aren't we so lucky to live by the beach? Or anything. I'm like, yes. Boom. Doors open. But if he had just even said, hey, may I ask you a question? I'd be like, sure. I still have had my wall up, but I would have acted. I'm like, yeah, sure. But my walls are up. I'm very seasoned at this. And he'd be like, I would love to take you out for tacos. How does that make you feel? Or like, how do you feel about that? Instead of saying, do you want to go to tacos? He's probably going to know, it's like, I would like to ask you out for tacos. How do you feel about that? I'd be like, I feel very honored. But I'm actually really enjoying my time at the beach. I'd like to stay here. Cool. You know what I mean? Like but that's why, like, if you just shoot your shot, you're going to get a yes or a no. It's very black and white. But if you have a conversation, you increase your chances of getting the answer you eventually want. Oh, sorry, Fat Fingers, and accidentally said, I love you. Hi, Turbo T. Let's see. Was that guy in California, Minnesota, when younger, before cell phone and social media, the polite brush off was to give wrong phone number? Yes. I think I did that years ago. But this guy on the beach was last week. That guy, or the guy at the water park was in California. They're both in California. Yeah. That reminds me. So I think I've told you guys this story before, but it was probably like maybe a year and a half ago. I took my kids to that same water park, and there was another dad there who was very much like the overconfident type, which is a huge turnoff for me. And like we caught each other's eyes because he was pretty good looking and whatever. But like I very quickly picked up on his energy that he's a little overconfident, which to me typically means they're overcompensating for a pretty big issue. And I don't even know what that is. Like I'm not interested in figuring you out or saving you or fixing you. And he was like pretty like assertive, I'll say. He wasn't aggressive. He was very assertive and just like trying to chat with me, even though my body language is like, I'm not attracted. I'm like trying to focus on my young one, and he had a young one, and like he just kept trying and trying. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, this guy is not paying attention to my body language. My body language was very clear. I am not interested. But he kept trying and trying. I'm like, well, I'm here by myself with 3 young ones. It's actually quite hard as one parent, 3 kids running in 3 different directions at this huge water park. Like I have some anxiety and I can't ever I don't know, someone's always being left behind. I'm always trying to find them. So I'm a little like distracted, and I have this very assertive man in my space. I'm just like, I wish he would pay attention to my body cues. He's not helping. And then he's like, hey, I'm going to go get a drink from the bar. Do you want anything? I'm like, nope, I'm good. He's like, well, can I get you anything else? And I was like, well, since this man has been annoying me, I'm going to take advantage of this. I'm like, yeah, I would actually love a latte. He's like, okay, I'll go get you a latte. I'm like, okay, thanks. He's like, can you watch my kid? I'm like, of course, I'll watch your kid. So he kind of kept being in my space, and I'm like, I knew what I was doing. So he was gone for a little while. He came back, and he brought me like an energy drink. He's like, they didn't have any cafe or lattes, and I assumed you were tired because you wanted caffeine, so I got you caffeine drink. Is that okay? I actually love that he paid attention to that. That's exactly what I needed. I needed caffeine. So I got this drink, and then I had like go to the bathroom or something, or check on my other young ones. And I was like, can I leave my young one here with you while I go check on my other ones? He's like, yeah, of course. So then I went and checked. But listen, I only did this because he would not stop persisting. So I'm like, well, if he's going to persist, I'm going to take advantage of him. Like I knew what I was doing, and I knew he was going to interpret it as I was interested. I was not interested. I was annoyed, but I'll use your convenience. So I go check on my other ones, and then I come back, and I'm back with my youngest, and he had a youngest. And then he was getting ready to leave, and he's like, all right, well, we're getting ready to leave. I'm like, all right, cool, bye. Making it very clear, I have no interest in this. Continue. He walked away. He came back like 2 seconds later, like, hey, can I get your number? I said, nope, I'm good. Thank you so much. And he's like, oh. And I think he was confused. I'm like, I let him buy me a drink. I let him watch my kid. But I was like, you're annoying me. and I might as well just take advantage of what you're offering. But the moment you're gone, I'm going to be relieved. Right. So like when I say I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm doing. So if you're not going to pay attention to my body language, if you're not going to like honor my space and you're going to persist, I'm going to try to take advantage of it in some way. Because like right now you're driving me crazy. So it's just like, it's just these soft skills, like really landing the woman of your dreams. It's soft skills, and we're going to be awkward. And I don't think awkward is wrong. I don't think imperfection is bad. I think that's actually makes it really endearing, but it's just adding a little bit of a soft set of skills of like tuning in what's her body language right now. And like, can I point to something in common in the room that we can talk about? Can I open the door just to conversation? And then if I feel ready, can I take my shot? But even if she says no, am I willing to see if I can still stay connected? And this is where we fuck ourselves over. If someone says no and we interpret it as never, it could just be me not right now. It could be not yet. Why do we interpret it as never? And so us being willing, like thinking of a creative way, like how can I stay connected to this person? And if they say yes to that, there's a little bit of an openness there. But if they say no, like if that guy's like, well, hey, could I follow you on social media? I'm like, no, I'm good. I would just said, no, I'm good. But to another guy, I'd be like, yeah, here's my Instagram handle. Right? So like just these little finesse touches is like, I feel like that's how far we are from landing the person of our dreams. It's not this big crazy overhaul. It's not completely changing your wardrobe. It's not being direct and alpha. It's like, can I point to something in common? Can I make her feel safe? How can I make her feel seen? Can I go out of my way and do something for her? Like, I'll go get you a cafe. I'm going to go get you a caffeinated drink. I'm sure you're exhausted as a single parent with 3 kids running around at this water park. I'm like, oh my God, thank you. But without an agenda. Because this man got me a drink, I think he assumed of course I will give my phone number. No, I don't owe you anything, right? But if he'd been a little bit softer and a little bit more gentler and paid attention to my body language, maybe he could have had a different outcome. But he created his own outcome because he was not paying attention. And he could easily blame me, like, I can't believe she said no, and I can't believe she took advantage of me. No, he created that situation. I met him at his level. It's like he had an agenda for me. I'm like, okay, I'll have an agenda for you then. I need caffeine. I need someone to watch my young one for 5 minutes while I go check my other ones. Like, at the end of the day, we are often the ones putting the nails in our own coffin, and we think it's the other person's fault. And if we keep getting the same pattern, anytime there's a pattern in my life, I'm like, okay, how am I responsible for this? How am I creating this? It's one thing if it's a fluke, right? It's one thing if something happens, but if there's a pattern, you are the common denominator in your pattern. So what is going on with you, and how can we make subtle shifts that can change your results? Being respectful goes a long way. Exactly, Lucid 86. Ding, ding, ding. I love that. Let's see. It's so much something I remind myself on a regular basis. Be the change you want to be. Yeah, it's not about convincing anyone. It's like really believing a woman too. If I say no, I mean no. It's like, no, I got to ask her again. I'm like, nope, I said no. Like, I don't need to say it more than once, right? Let's see. So going out with a perfect woman who is like, no, yes. Yeah, so going with the perfect woman isn't necessarily no or yes. So I think what you're getting is it's a gradient. It's a gradient. Sometimes it's a hard no. That guy who's very assertive in my space, that was a hard no. Zero interest in that man, right? The taco guy from last week, I would have been open had he done a little bit softer, a slightly different approach. For some, like I was telling Raya, I was at the club this weekend and I wanted to make out with a woman. I wanted, because my eyes were like on the prowl. Like, who can I make out with? Like, I was ready to say yes. So if I had seen a woman, if she'd seen me catch my eye and she'd be like, can I kiss you? I'd be like, fuck yes, I have been waiting all night for that. Right? So there's times where it was like an immediate yes. I didn't find anyone. I was so bummed. And there was no kissing that happened that night. But like, I was ready. And so if a woman had asked me, I'd be like, fuck yes, let's make out. Right? And then there's times that often a no means not right now or not yet, if we know to utilize these soft skills. If we don't utilize these soft skills, we will continually get the door shut on us. And it's not because women are bitches. It's not because there's something wrong with them. It just means we have a pattern established, and we need to make a tiny shift. Usually it's not a big crazy overhaul. It's a tiny shift that can start changing the results that you get. I love it. No worries, Steve. I think clear my brain, but usually doesn't translate to cogent text. That's no problem. I mean, Gino, I agree with you. Gino's like, this seems like common sense. I agree, but there's like this, there's so much hype around being an alpha male. Like you be aggressive and you tell, like, you know what a woman want. It's disgusting to me. And he said, do you know any women who actually like the aggressive approach? I personally don't. I typically think a woman who likes the aggressive approach, this is my own opinion, is a woman who doesn't know her own value and worth. Right? It's familiar. I wouldn't even say it's comfortable or good. It's familiar for men to tell her who she is and what to do and what she should want. And she doesn't know how, like, she doesn't know. She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know what she wants. It's easier for a man to tell her because she doesn't discover that for herself. So it's personally, I think women that are taken advantage of. That's my personal opinion. And there's an exception, of course, to every rule or every belief. But I personally have not met a woman who's like, yes, please be aggressive and tell me what I want. I mean, I'm like that in the bedroom, but if I feel safe with you, I will let you have your way with me. If I do not feel safe with you, I will shove you out so fast. Hi, Chase, how are you? Common sense ain't common. Oh, that is kind of sadly true. Oh my God. True that. You know my take on the so-called alpha male mentality. I do. I know you know my take on it too. Aggressive works only in male-dominated entertainment, perpetuating the lie, making women think lack of consent is okay. Yes, Steve, that was like a thesis right there, a one-sentence thesis. I love that. Yeah, yeah. Let me see. I'm not generally into guys, and I'm always shocked when a guy takes an aggressive approach. Like, dude, take a hint. Yes, it's just like it's really baffling. Like, we are peers, we are equal, we have brains, we have desires, we have bodily autonomy, we're smart, we're intelligent, we're capable. Like, I'm not 10 years old and need to be told what to do or who to be. Like, I'm a grown ass woman, and if you feel like the need to be aggressive, bye. Like. Yeah, but that's the thing, though. The reason I'm having the sex ed specifically, it's like, okay, you know not to be aggressive, but then I feel like people don't know what to do. It's like, they may get paralyzed. So that's why this conversation of like, find something you have in common. Point to something that is easy to talk about and opens the door to a conversation. It's like, oh, right? Make her feel safe. Don't get up all in her space. Even if you send her a drink or you're at the bench next to me, can you just sit there and start a conversation, even though it's a little awkward because we're 8 to 10 feet away, but that's less awkward than you getting in my face and abruptly asking me out. It's like, like, who are you? Where'd you come from? You know, like, Raya, thank you, love. Right? Okay, love you. Get back to work. Thank you for being here, Raya. Right? So it's like these soft skills, right? And then it's like, if you do shoot your shot and she says no, can you not interpret that as never or just like be open? Maybe she means no. We do need to respect a woman's no. But are you willing to like totally get that? Not a problem. I'd love to stay connected because I love your energy. Like compliment like that versus like, I want to stay in touch because if I don't shoot my shot now, if we put this pressure of like, she has to be the one and I can't lose her, you're probably going to lose her. But if you approach it like, hey, I really like your energy. I loved our conversation. I'd love to stay connected. Is there some good social media handle for me to follow? I like that will keep the door slightly open if she's open to that. But if she says no to going out for tacos with you and you're like, see, I tried. I don't get it. It's like, well, you tried, but then you immediately shut the door. Versus, okay, then just make a slight pivot of like, hey, I loved your energy. I loved our little conversation. Is there a social media I could follow you on? Like, it might sound silly, but I just feel like social media is the new way to stay in touch. It's like safer for women. Again, we want to make a woman feel safe. She can kind of monitor your behavior. Like, how do you treat her online? And like, how do you engage with her? Or if you only silently stalk her and you don't say a word and then you DM her and ask her out, like, why would she say yes to you? Like, so here's the last thing I'll say on this. I get DMs all the time from men asking me out. If you've been in my world for a while, you know I've talked this on some of my live streams. And most men approach me in the DMs as though I'm unreachable, as though I'm on a pedestal. And the second you put me on a pedestal, I'm typically not interested in going on a date with you. Because now I'm going to be afraid you're going to be fangirling over me the whole time. and you're not able to have, like, you're not going to be in your power. You're going to be like, it's Nicole, oh my God, which is sweet and I love, but not to go on a date with that energy. I'll sign your photograph. I'll hug you. I'll take a photo with you. But if you want to ask me on a date, you have to, when you DM me as though you don't have a chance, I immediately assume you don't have a good sense of self-worth. Because if you knew you were the shit, if you knew you were a catch, you would DM me as a pure. And you would, again, do the exact same strategy I'm teaching here, just find something in common. So if you DM me and said, hey, Nicole, I've been following you for about 6 months now. I love your content. I love, and give me some specific. I love the way that you empower women around their sexuality. I love that you're teaching people how to make more money. I love that you're normalizing wealth and sex and pleasure. Like, this is exactly what our world needs. You immediately have my attention. And I wouldn't necessarily shoot your shot right away. Again, it's just like, I just want to DM you. I've been silently watching and like supporting you, but I just wanted you to hear directly that I see you. I think your work is life-changing, and I'm so excited, or I'm so glad you exist and you're doing this work in the world. You have my attention. I'm going to respond. But most men are like, oh my God, you would never say yes to me. You're so hot. You would never notice me. 100%. I would not notice you. Hi, Don Lions. Or if you're like, oh my God, baby, you're so beautiful. Let's go out. I get a million of those a day. What sets you apart? That example I just gave you would set you apart. It's like you are complimenting something you've noticed about me, which makes me feel seen, and you make me feel safe by just saying, instead of silently like thinking how amazing you are, I always, like, I think we should tell people in real life or in real time the impact we see someone having, and I want you to know I see the impact you're making, and it really takes my breath away, and I have so much respect for you and the work that you're doing. Keep doing it. I just like, okay, okay, who's this person? And then after that, I mean, even before that, I'd recommend you like engaging on my posts and like just show me that you exist. And if you sent me a DM like that, you have my attention. So again, it's like these soft but critical skills to me, which is common sense. But I think we just get set in our head and we make asking out black and white. I have to ask out now or never. It's like, or I have to shoot my shot, or it's like, what if I just found something we have in common or compliment her on something specific, whether it's a necklace or it's the sunset or it's my coaching work on Instagram. It's like, and it's not physical, because I have men every day in the DMs tell me how beautiful I am, which I love. But that doesn't make you unique. That doesn't set you apart. You're just like everyone else. But if you compliment me on my work, on my coaching, on the way I teach, the way I carry myself, the way I do interviews, like there's so many things specific you can compliment me on, you have my attention, right? And because most men don't do this, you are immediately noticed. You don't have to worry about being lost in the noise. Like, the noise is all the same. You doing this differently is exactly what's going to make you stand out. Lucid, don't give me too many ideas. I love it. You're amazing. Love it. I'm so glad you guys love it. This is amazing. We want to be the cool guy, but have cognitive dissonance because so many of the okay TV norms grate on our hearts. Yes, appreciate your efforts. Like, be cool. I think it's very cool when you do it the way I just said. I think you're a very cool guy if you DM me and said, and you complimented me something on my coaching. That is very cool. If we're at the beach and you compliment the sunset and we have a conversation, I think it's very cool because you know what you're doing and you're making me feel safe, but you're also making me feel seen, and like you've piqued my curiosity. Like, that is very cool. It's a different definition than of the media cool. Like, yeah, just be sexy and confident. She can't resist you and she'll say yes. And she doesn't say yes, just keep pestering her until she does. That is not cool. That is annoying. Just like that one guy at the water park. That was annoying. Yes. This was so good. This was so good. So good, so good, so good. Okay. That was it. That was my sex ed. This is how to land the woman, the person of your dreams. It requires just a little bit more thoughtfulness, a little bit of a softer approach, a little bit of a finesse. You're allowed to be awkward. You're allowed to be imperfect. Just know your value, know your worth, know that you are the catch, and make her feel safe, make her feel seen, and there's a decent chance you will make her swoon.